Tonight's episode is being brought to you by the good folks at Jameson Irish Whiskey.
It's that time again. Time for the all-new Culture Cast, which begins right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to the all-new Culture Cast. I'm Nick. This week's episode is a little bit different just because when Cuz and I were talking about our 2023 preview, we went on a very long detour on a very different subject that I think merited its own sort of mini episode. So, for your enjoyment or disenjoyment, depending on what side of the argument you fall on, here is that detour in all of its glory. Enjoy. Disenjoyment. What's a disenjoyment? Sure said unenjoyment. Whatever. But before we talk about 2023, we have to talk about something else. And I'm sorry, I'm springing this on you.
Okay.
So you didn't have time to prep for this. But
Fuck.
Let's face it, you don't really need time to prep for this.
No, it's all in here, baby. It's all mental. What we got?
Since we last talked, one of the last things we talked about was the DC extended cinematic universe.
Yeah.
And we had plans to how we could fix it. And since that time, a lot of stuff has happened. Namely, James Gunn was hired on to lead the cinematic universe, and people were very excited about that. And then shortly thereafter, it was announced that it's looking like it's going to be mostly a clean slate, a reboot. We don't know how and why, but it's pretty much that. And the man babies who love Zack Snyder and his films have lost their freaking mind.
Yeah, I was like, people do realize most people like James Gunn. Now he's like to see as like the devil. I'm like,
no, only a small minority see him as the devil because most sane people be like, all right, let's see what he can do. It might be good, it might be bad, but you have like nutcases. Like, let's face it, Zack Snyder's series of films were going away. They were not coming back. Snyder wanted Warner Brothers wanted nothing to do with him. They were moving away from it. Even when Henry Cavill was tricked into thinking he was coming back as Superman thanks to The Rock, he was making statements and saying, yeah, I look forward to playing a lighter and more positive Superman, which, put people in a tizzy. But then I saw some Snyder people like rationalizing, well, see, in the Snyder films, he grew, and now he's going to be like the Superman that people know, where he's more upbeat, but it's all that development. Like, no.
The development needs to be. You can't. No, that was one of the stupidest things. Again, when I go back to like in my in my time capsule brain, sitting in the theater in 2013 watching Man of Steel, I'm like, man, it's interesting. I mean, it's kind of weird that Superman decided just to kill Zod, just snap his neck right there. I feel like that's like the moment, like, what kind of person are you going to be? Like Superman should find another choice, or like.
And you know what? I don't mind Superman killing. I don't, because that could be played for drama. Normally Superman doesn't kill, but he's done it before in the comics. But the thing is, you have to earn that, and there has to be some sort of payoff. Like when Superman snapped Zod's neck, he was like, he like screamed like ah after it, and like, are you like upset? Because like nowhere early in the film where he was like, I won't kill, that's not me, I won't do this, and then he's forced to a situation where he needs to do it, and it has an effect on him. That's interesting, that's drama, but there is no setup and payoff. The scenario that he got him in, where he's Zod shooting the lasers at the random people.
The random family came in for the day trip from Ohio.
Yeah. I feel like, and it's a movie, and you can nitpick all this. Like Superman had other options. Like, okay, like he had Zod like set like there. He could have just, I'll just fly you away at the moment. But whatever. That's nitpicky. Whatever. But they don't do anything with it. And then you think, well, maybe in the sequel, like Superman, like people will be like, oh, Superman killed. We can't trust him. So that's interesting drama to earn the people's trust. To be, like no. That was a unique situation. I'm not going to do with that. But they don't. It just gets glossed over.
Well, no, because then we go right into him fighting Batman, and Batman's like, "You're evil, Superman. I'm going to take you
for
down."
reasons.
Yeah, and nothing on God's green earth will change my mind, except if we just coincidentally have the same mother's first name. Which I get the idea behind that moment. I understand it, but
it's
the way it's played,
idea. Yeah. It's a neat idea that they pull off Martha, because they do have this, by coincidence, they do have the same mother's first name. But like, it was handled so clumsily. Like,
yes.
A for effort and creativity, B for F for like execution.
Yes.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about the SnyderVerse films. But I like, they are melting down. I'm going to send you an image I've seen. You might have seen it, but it's a picture of like Nightmare, the death of James Gunn, where like a crazy Superman's like holding James Gunn's head. God. And it's like, okay, one, Superman definitely would not do that, but two, it's like, you don't even know what he's doing yet.
Good God.
Yeah, I know, right? It might be better. It might be worse. I don't know. Zach Levi's all Gucci, so that's fine. But it's insane. Anyway, I'm totally here for their meltdown, because it is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Like, I used to post a long time ago in the Trek BBS, which is a Star Trek bulletin board system. I haven't in forever because I couldn't take it anymore. I'm talking about, like, I haven't in like a good decade. I have not even done that. But every now and again, I'll go and just read, because entertainment value. And there's a DC thread in there, and there's like two guys, I'm assuming they're guys, that are like totally gung-ho.
Nick, of course they're guys. No self-respecting females go beyond that.
You're probably right. And they are just like gung-ho on Zack Snyder stuff. And they're like pushing a narrative that everyone likes Zack Snyder's films, and James Gunn's not respecting the film. Like, no. I mean, but like, the funny thing is, one guy who, like, he will shit on every other element of any, like, the Arrowverse, he shits on that. People were saying like, oh, I love Batman 66. He shits on that. He like he can't accept anyone else not liking like anything that's not the SnyderVerse. Mm-hmm. And like, he'll go on like, yeah, you just have SnyderVerse people who are obsessed with hating some guy. It's really sick. I'm like, are you like not self-aware? Are you not like, part of me really wants to like log back in and just type a response, but like, no, it's not worth it. He'll dilute it in his head. One guy's like, well, I'm not going to watch. See you on opening night.
Yep. What is it? Horseshoe theory, where like you go so far in one direction that eventually you come back. You go from like ironic to like sincere. Like,
yeah.
It's. I mean, I think. Well, one, I was going back through my notes because I still have those from that show. I think the James Gunn option lines up with option 3, sell for parts. They're scrapping everything that they can, but also in the grand legacy of things, the Zack Snyder stuff was interesting. Doesn't mean good. It just means interesting. Like, I will not mistake what Zack Snyder made for anything else. Even the stuff that James Gunn did, you could not confuse. There is a very specific style. There's very specific motifs. There is, I've heard some people, or not some people, I remember there were like videos on like, how Zack Snyder's personal politics of like Ayn Randism and stuff like that seeps into his version of superheroes, which I'm like, so it's unique. Doesn't mean good, but it is unique. And I credited the people who or I shouldn't take credit, but I'm glad Zack was able to trick some people into giving him massive amounts of money for him to bring his vision of DC Comics to the big screen. You know what? That takes balls. That takes guts. We
You
need
know,
guts in Hollywood.
yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. Um, Warner Brothers was desperate when
Mm,
the DC cinematic universe started because they tried starting it a couple of times with false
yes.
starts,
Yes.
and they were like they needed to make a Superman movie, otherwise they were going to lose the rights. Surprisingly, and so like when Snyder was like, they're like, I'll do this. They're like, good, take it. And Christopher Nolan was producing it, so it all worked out. And right after Man of Steel came out, or right before Man of Steel came out, like that's when Avengers hit big. And so
Mm-hmm.
Warner Brothers like, okay, Zack Snyder, listen, we got this. This sort of kind of worked. We're not going to dump it. We're going to continue. We're going to press on. So Snyder, what do you got for us? And it was Snyder's idea to bring Batman into the Superman sequel. Um, People think, oh, Warner Bros. Forced it. No, no, no. That was Zack Snyder, and I found an article where he's quoted but saying, I just brought it up to see what they would think, and it got
Well, yeah,
more and more involved in the part.
well, they probably love that. They're like, oh yeah, people love Batman. Yeah, 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 yeah. Our last, our last big movies with DC were all Batman stuff. So yeah, yeah.
And Jonah Hex. Don't forget about Jonah Hex.
Oh God, yeah. And
Um,
and don't forget Green Lantern. He's in there.
yeah.
Ryan Reynolds has made an entire career shitting on the fact that he was in Green Lantern that one time. He did meet his wife though, so I mean that's a positive.
Silver lining.
Silver lining.
But yeah, and what's hilarious is people are like, there are a couple, and we'll talk about them later on. There are a couple of DC movies that are coming out that aren't going to lead to anything. Why do people want to watch them? Because they might be entertaining. Like you watched the Snyder Cut, which had cliffhangers that were going to lead to absolutely nothing. How is that any different? But in their mind, well, Warner Brothers was going to give Zack Snyder, because the Snyder Cut was an overwhelming success.
Uh-uh.
No, it wasn't. People say it was the most streamed thing. Yes, but how many people finished that? That's the key thing.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that Zaslav never, like, he saw how the Snyder Cut did and refuses to do anything like that again. I guarantee you, if Zaslav was in charge a year before, the Snyder Cut would not have happened.
No. It would be like, you're spending $70 million on what?
Girl.
A
Yeah,
movie
right.
a movie that came out several years ago didn't do well, and you want to basically make a longer version of a mediocre movie? What the fuck?
I mean, the Snyder Cut people don't realize that the Snyder Cut only happened because of a unique set of circumstances.
Was it
But
like whoever was in charge of Warner Brothers? Like, was it Hamada?
yeah,
He was. I mean, I think people were like criticizing him, but I think he may have been the best thing to happen to DC because he was like, "Hey, we're going to have these director-focused movies, like, the Batman or Joker. Like
right.
those were under his tutelage." And
Yeah, I mean,
everyone's like, "Hamadaverse, he's stupid." I'm like, no, he probably tried course correcting in a way that I very much was a fan of
yeah,
because
I
it
mean,
was different from Marvel.
and they found their niche where they weren't worried about telling an overarching storyline, just like movies set in the same world.
Continuity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Bird of Prey or Birds of Prey. I like that a lot. That was a fun movie.
Still, I've not seen it yet. So, or again, in the May list of things that Charles needs to watch, I'm
I,
slowly chipping away at it.
I'd recommend. It was fun. I mean, it's not the greatest movie, but it was fun.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, and yeah, I mean, Aquaman was very much a James Wan does a Marvel movie, which that movie made $1 billion. I don't remember anything about it other than like James Momoa was in it, and he talked about peeing on a sword or something.
No, that movie is nuts. It's like Doctor Evil. It had sharks with freaking lasers attached to their heads. That movie, that movie is like visual fucking overload, and it's great for it. Like, because there are parts where you can tell, like, okay, a lot of the Marvel stuff, half their sets are green screen. You could tell in this, they're like, okay, there is gonna be green screen to expand out the boundaries, but when there's actual fight scenes, you can tell it's a set. You know, like physical. Like okay, we made a
Right.
little. Like that movie
Well,
is
that's
probably
clearly was it Wan? Was that
yeah.
it? That's clearly a James Wan. Is it James Wan?
It is James Wan,
Okay.
the brilliant mind who brought us *Malignant*,
Yeah.
which
That
again makes that movie even more interesting. How the fuck do you get, like what happened, James? You went from again visual overload with Aquaman to generic. I should say generic because the monster or the killer is that's a wild movie if you haven't if
well,
anyone here hasn't seen it, which is it's an all new culture cast, highly recommended.
well, he was also involved in the Fast and the Furious movies, so
Was
I mean, he definitely has that action sort of element. So I think he definitely wants to keep it like practical as much as he can.
yeah.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're getting so anyway. Long story short, the Snyder cut fanboys are having absolute meltdowns, and I'm here for it.
Yep. It's like I said, this is I do wit I mean the real let's talk about I will say this, I am not a Snyder Cut fanboy. I again, as you've probably if anyone's listened to this or heard me in the past.
What are you talking about? You got Zack Snyder like tattooed on his face tattooed on your back.
Shh, don't tell
Dixon
people
style.
that. I'm trying to get rid of that. But
Cover it up with James Gunn.
I'm trying to get the guys to like, just edit it somehow, laser certain parts off. Um, but the one thing, the real victim in all this is Henry Cavill because the dude genuinely seemed excited to be back as Superman with someone who may. I mean, if you've ever heard him talk in like interviews talk about like his time with The Witcher and how apparently that whole production is a fucking mess, and he's like,
Yeah, and he was like all gung ho for it too.
yeah, and apparently the creators are like, no, we're not going to listen to you, Henry Cavill, even though you're like he's what nerds wish they could be, super jacked, mega nerd.
This is
Um,
true.
but but yeah, I think he was really excited to be back as Superman. I was actually really hoping The Rock strong arming himself into DC would have been a lot more, but apparently that's not leading anywhere since Black Adam apparently is a. I've yet to watch it, even though it is now on HBO, which I will get into that when we go into our list of stuff I'm looking when I'm going into 2023. But yeah, Henry Cavill, he was like, "I'm back as Superman," and then a few months later, I guess I'm not.
LOL. Nope. Well,
I still feel like I feel like James Gunn is smart enough. He knows this audience. I think right now they're like they're still in the planning phase. Like, okay, they're like what we did. In fact, James, Mr. Gunn, if you want to reach out to us, we have several great ideas for a 10-year plan.
I swear to God, I think James Gunn listened to our podcast because the way he was describing, like, well, the first movie is going to be a Superman movie, but it's not going to be origin. And just tell how he meets all the people. Like, holy fuck, that was my idea, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, go back to the Batman. We didn't need a Batman origin, just younger Batman, not year 1, year 2 or 3. Like, still, he's got the main gist of it. And now he's meeting more villains. That makes sense.
Yeah.
People really like that movie.
That was a good film.
Good film. Good. The 3 hour again, it could have been a mini series, but it's 3 hours long, and
it was really long.
Yeah, we're starting at that age where limited series and like movies are blending together. Like most good book act. I can't even speak. Jesus, I've been like this all week. Most good book adaptations, if I can say that word right, are usually like one season of a TV show, like season 1 of Game of Thrones, or I just recently watched the Jack Reacher show starring Thad Castle. Again, pretty good.
Hashtag
like, hey,
Tom Cruise is my Jack Reacher.
Yeah, he's too short. Like apparently that's how the character is. He's brain and brawn. Like I'm sure that's not a Mary Sue. But anyhow, yeah, James Gunn leading DC was not on my vision board, but I'm glad it is. And
yeah,
anybody
he was the third option too.
Really? Who was 1 and 2? Who was 1 and 2?
They first were like begging Todd Phillips to take over.
Oh, fuck off! Really?
Supposedly, yeah. And he was like, no, I don't want to do it. And then they asked some other guy, some producer guy. I don't remember his name. And I think that was going to be a go, but he wanted Warner Brothers to take a stake in his like production company, and they're like, no, we're not going to do that. And he's like, well, I'm out. And then they went to James Gunn, which is hilarious because people are like, the only reason they hired James Gunn is because he did the Marvel. Like, yeah, but that would make sense if he was one or two, if he was the first one they asked, but he was number 3.
I'm assuming I'm going to quote one of my favorite movies of recent years, Knives Out. They sent me an envelope full of cash and said, so yeah, I'm assuming they were like, hey, James, do you want to have a massive paycheck and be basically the Kevin Feige of this side? Because I'm James Gunn again. He seems like the people's nerd. I like him. I follow him on Facebook. You know, he seems like a cool dude. Again, I can't wait. I still want to see Peacemaker season 2, so it'll be interesting to see how he's going to blend all that. I'm assuming it's just going to be universe change. Peacemaker remembers everything from before because he's got a special helmet.
My guess is Peacemaker season 2 will be the last season of that.
I hope not. That's a really good show.
I haven't seen it. I don't have the energy, but
if you get time for it, again, that's kind of the main thing with all the streaming stuff. Which again, that could be a discussion in and of itself. But again, really good, solid show. Again, very much a James Gunn. Again, it's very much a James Gunn kind of story and characters.
So we'll see. But anyway, in any event, the meltdowns by the man babies, I love, and it'll not be entertaining. And the mental gymnastics they're going through to like justify any decision. I mean, let's face it. I think when Zaslav took over, the writing was on the wall that the old stuff, there was a good possibility that was going to get wiped clean one way or another. It's clear they didn't know what they wanted to do, because there was talk about the universe will be shifting a little bit. Michael Keaton was going to be the new Batman and all of that, but that got shit canned, and they were going to bring back Affleck, but then I guess James Gunn gave a convincing. Maybe they filmed both, but not knowing which way they were going to go.
I'll be honest. If David Zaslav had his way, he would sell off the entirety of Warner Brothers catalog as tax write-offs and just start from zero. We've had no movies until 2023. Like everything before, even going back to the 60s, gone. It's sold off. I think someone had to stop him because it's like, holy shit. Again, the news with him, like he's like, I'm like, I never got around to Westworld. I never will now because that's fucking gone. I mean, that was supposed to be a good show, I guess, but I'll never know.
Yeah. Why take it off the streaming service? I don't get that. Like, just leave it there. Like, does it cost that much? I guess some things have rights issues, but like, if it's your own service and it's your own show.
I think because you have, again, going back to the almighty dollar, you have to pay, even if someone's on your streaming service that you own, you have to pay residuals to the creators, the actors, again, some percentage. And that's money we could save for probably some cheap reality TV Discovery Channel style show. That's money that can be used for another season of Ghost Adventures. Ghost Adventures and Dirty Jobs. Apparently Dirty Jobs came back. I didn't realize that until quite recently. Oh. Mike Rowe needs a paycheck.
I guess. Former opera singer, now like hardcore conservative, saying people don't work hard enough. Dude, you're an opera singer. Get over yourself. An opera singer? Mike Rowe. That's how he got his start. He was like an opera singer or something like that.
Are you serious? I thought you were like a journalist or something.
I'm 900% sure that's the case. Let's see.
People in the audience, comment if Mike Rowe was an opera singer.
I'm looking it up right here. Let's see.
Phooey, sir. I call phooey.
I could have sworn.
Here, make me Google this. God damn it.
Am I wrong? I must be. Oh, Rowie sang professionally with the Baltimore Opera. It was it's under his personal life. Now I don't know how long he was an opera singer, but him saying he's a blue collar cheerleader, it's like, that's an act you're putting on, buddy.
Let's see. Career. Narrator. Pitchman. Well, all right.
Yeah, he was opera singer for 8 years before he became did television.
According to this, in 2014, he a voiceover for a Walmart ad sparked death threats from fans. I don't know what.
What?
That's what it says here.
I know, I believe it, but like, why would that cause death threats? It's like,
I don't know, man. People are
because
he's weird. You're weird. Well, you know what? You learn something new every day. I think that's the. I think that's what the most important part of the story. You learn something new every day.
It's true.
Well, I think we've bitched about our again. It seems to be a labor of love to be a fan of DC Comics because they're always coming up with something. But
their next get rich quick scheme.
Pretty much. Again, yeah. I can't remember if we wrote this right after Batgirl got canceled. So I think we did. I think we underestimated how much David Zaslav would sell off everything for Warner Brothers for parts. Like, holy shit! And again, now they're going to make their own, like, basically like a Tubi or Pluto TV, which, I mean, it isn't bad, but it's like, I'd rather pay a streaming service that way I wouldn't have ads. Just kind of like uninterrupted. I mean, it's fine that those are free, but still, it's like I'd rather just, I will give you money so I don't have to watch an advertisement. Like, I am willing to do that as a human being,
it's like,
as a capitalist.
Maybe with the ads, it's guaranteed money versus let's hope someone signs up for this.
I guess. Oh, anyway. Good Lord.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. That was Cousin, my discussion on the current state of the DC universe in regards to the new leadership. Thank you for listening, and be sure to join us next week when we finally talk about Twilight. We'll see you then. You've been listening to the all-new CultureCast. Follow us on Twitter. Drop us a line at nick.culturecast@gmail.com. We can't promise we'll read it. Theme music by Dana Vodovaz. Check out their work on YouTube at Vodovaz Music Productions. This has been a Saltwater production. Original material copyright 2023. Thanks for listening.
Hip hop, the hippie. And to the hip hip hop, don't stop the booing, to the bang bang booing, and don't stop the booing.